afternoon and a warm welcome to your number one sporting action. It has to be pitch side. I don't want to ask how has been your sporty weekend because maybe there has not been much of action, but I hope your weekend was equally good. Mine was fine. I really had fun, and I'm hoping that despite it not being the Premier League, the La Liga, the Serie A, the Bundesliga weekend, you had equally a sporting weekend. This is because to the rugby lovers, to the national football lovers, so much has been happening, and of course, we'll be delving into that. I am not alone on set. The man from Arsenal, the man who has 17 days to gather himself up and his team before they face Manchester City, is here. Talk to me.
My name is Victor Mui, of course, a very wonderful afternoon. And yes, as Mangi alluded, there are not a lot happening in the sports world, at least in the football is on an international break, but of course there were a lot of games to cover there, and a lot is coming, a lot is on the way, and we shall be getting into that and more.
Definitely, and maybe before we even get into what we have in store for you today, it's always important to remind you that you can be part of this program by tuning in every other given Monday on Hope TV, and we'll be here to tell you everything as and how it happens. Before we even get back home, Victor Moya.
Yes.
England was playing by none other than Brazil. Full-time 1-0.
Yes.
And everyone is asking, how on earth did this happen? What is there that England is not having to be able to become top contenders? Bearing in mind that the English Premier League is really one of the highest of the leagues when it comes to European football.
I think for England, it is a case of talent and the talents and coaching maybe not matching up. The talents that they have not being able to be utilized so much by the coach Gareth Southgate, who has failed to get over the hump many times. Be it the World Cup, the Euro Cup, the Euros that happened in 2022. We don't know. I don't know what it happens, but maybe the Gareth Southgate experiment may have borne no fruits. It might be time to move on from them because, of course, you cannot look at the England team and say that they lack talent. They have they have the manpower, they have even their B team is enough to compete with in the major leagues and against the big boys. But come have Brazil and you lose such a game, it is maybe an unfortunate event. But of course, Brazil is also no joke. Is no joke when it comes to football.
Well, joke, no joke. It's what happened over the weekend as England lost 1-0 to Brazil national team. But allow us to talk about the national teams, and the Kenya national soccer team, Harambee Stars, has been away from the country. This is because they are in Malawi taking part in the four-nation tournament. This is a tournament that was involving Kenya, the host Malawi, Zimbabwe, and Zambia. And on Saturday, we were in action. Kenya was in action, and so much to write home about what really happened. This is because, one, Mike Olunga scored 2 goals, one clinical score, the other one a clinical penalty, and 2 goals that really came from big stars, you would ask me. Ayub Timbe scoring a great goal, and then John Avire marking his return into the national team with a big and great goal for the night. 4-0 full time, and that really meant that Harambee Stars dominated into that one. And like I've told you, Michael Olunga scoring 2 goals. And in the second half, Ayub Timbe scoring the 3rd goal. And then 3 minutes deep into the extra time, John Avire making sure that Harambee Stars was able to clinch that win and book a spot in the finals where they'll be playing Zimbabwe come tomorrow after they were able to beat Zambia. Now for Malawi, who are the host nation, they will be playing none other than Zambia. I don't know whether my director has that footage on what really panned out at that action between Harambee Stars and the team called Malawi Flames. Great, Victor Moya, what do you make of one, Engin Firat? His team is out for an international break. A big win, if you ask me, for Kenya. This is because Malawi are not just a team, but a team has been in the African Cup of Nations. They've been a team that has played in the CHAN. They've been a team that is arguably part of the best teams when it comes to South African football.
I think it's a good win for Kenya, morale booster when heading into the World Cup qualifiers. But I don't think in the bigger picture it is a win that I would say means anything and does not contribute anything to the Kenya national team. Of course, a good performance from Michael Olunga and the team. Them scoring in the first minute, but you saw maybe just I think in the first half at least, the Malawi were able to get past the defense a couple of times, and the defense looked a little shaky. A few defenders not being able to cover their man and cover their spaces well, allowing Malawi to penetrate, and just that Malawi were not able to capitalize. And even a missed penalty by Malawi in the game. So I think for Harambee Stars, it's a good measure up. But of course, you cannot really look at Malawi and say that they are formidable opponents. I will say, because they are ranked 122nd and Kenya is ranked 111th on the FIFA rankings. So obviously, Kenya on the FIFA rankings is a better team, and that means that I don't think you will expect anything less from Kenya in this scenario. And of course, the Four Nations tournament, of course, is a great way for the national team to exercise and to be able to sharpen themselves as we prepare again, as they prepare for the World Cup qualifiers that are going to come this in the coming year.
Amazing. Maybe remaining in the Four Nation tournament and the national soccer team, under 20 team, these are the rising stars, were not able to clinch the title of the inaugural Four Nation tournament. This is because they lost 3-1 to host Malawi. And this is not what maybe tactician Anthony Aquila was actually hoping for, because remember, they were able to cruise with a 3-1 victory over Zimbabwe come Friday, but lost opportunities, and that really meant that is not adding up. However, Victor Moya, as this is happening, Talanta Hela under 19 team is currently in Spain, still taking part in another tournament that is more of an exchange program. This morning, they were able to win their first match 3-0. And I want to ask you this, Victor. Do you really feel that the indications of rising stars being able to play in the Four Nation tournament and the Talanta Hela under 19 team being able to be given an exposure in Spain is more or less a fulfillment of government's promise in talent tapping when it comes to Kenyan football?
I think that the problem with Kenyan football, as we all know, has never been the talent. The talent has always been there. Kenya is a land of many gifted sports stars, and so I think that football talent in the country is sufficient and enough to compete with the best of them. The only problem that comes in is the management, especially when you start getting to the top, because there are very many programs, as you can see, the under 20 rising stars in Malawi, the Talanta Hela team under 19 in Spain, and so at the lower levels, the government support is there, the structures are there, the infrastructure is there for them to be able to compete well and to be developed. But once they get into the national team, into the senior team, I don't know what goes amiss, because obviously there is the issue of maybe payments and maybe you don't want to overcommit in your club. I mean, at the national level, which is not really a high paying gig or a high-paying encounter, and lose out on the club monies and lose out on income that you'll have made at the club level. And I feel like when these things are when we are able to reconcile these things, we will be able to get the best out of the national team, and especially at the senior levels. The management falls apart at the senior levels. Of course, we have a lot of vested interests and a lot of people, maybe a lot of things that we don't really see. But of course, the under 19 being able to being able to compete, especially internationally, is of course a good indication of the government being able to step in and support the youngsters and be able to give them an opportunity to showcase their talents and to also be exposed to high levels of competition from such a young age. By the time that they get into the national level, they are able to the senior level, that is, they're able to compete and represent the country well.
Great. And from Malawi straight to Nairobi. And before we land in Nairobi, we want to take a trip to no better place than Kirinyaga County. This is because at the Wanguru Stadium, the Safaricom Chapa Dimba tournament Central Region finals were underway over the weekend. And these were the last of the regional finals before the national finals that are slated for Kakamega County later next month. But as that was happening, it is worth noting that Barcelona Ladies and Leicester FC, remembered Barcelona Ladies being two-time winners and defending champions of the Central Region, Safaricom Chapa Dimba, they were able to cruise through for this one, and they were able to beat none other than St. Joseph from Moranga in a resounding victory of 5-0, them booking a ticket to be able to take part in the Chapa Dimba, Safaricom's Chapa Dimba tournament finals. And on the very same night in the boys category, Leicester FC from Laikipia County staged a remarkable comeback after initially trailing 1-0 in the first half. They were able to come from behind and defeat M-Pesa Foundation from Kiambu County 3-2 full-time in booking their slot for that one. Take a look at really what happened and panned out at the Wanguru Stadium over the weekend.
Game ya jana hiyo timu tulikutana nayo ndio ilikuwa hard kuliko yenye tumecheza nayo ya leo. Hii ya leo tumekuwa na communication, tumekuwa tunaambiana mtu akikosea unamrectify na ana correct wewe umwambia ball inakuwa rahisi kwetu na tunawin. Tunaandaa timu yetu kwenda vile national huko Kisumu. Najua saizi itakuwa rahisi kwangu kidogo. Manake ile preparation zingine ilikuwa wanafunzi walikuwa shuleni na si ni club. So unapata wanatoka shule tofauti. But baada ya wiki ijayo watakuwa wamefunga shule. So ku prepare kwenda kule nationals at least itakuwa rahisi kwangu kidogo.
Leo game haikuwa rahisi. Lakini tumeng'ang'ana, tumefight our way through it. Imekuwa ngumu, they know ball pia. Haikuwa one sided. Lakini football is a game of chance. Ametupa zao, tumefunga zetu, and that's why we are winners.
Ni mara ya kwanza tumeingia kwenye Chapa Dimba, lakini vijana walikuwa shakuwa determined. Vijana wako tayari, wako safi, prepared kushinda. So sisi hatukuwa tunakuja kama watu wa mara ya kwanza, tumekuja kama watu ambao tumejipanga kujua kitu tumekuja kutafuta. Na kusema ukweli, tumeipata. Tutachange vitu 2-3. Tukifika muda wa kwenda Kisumu tutakuwa tayari sana kupambana na yule ambaye atakuja upande wetu.
Victor Moya,
yes.
There you have it from the Wanguru Stadium as Barcelona Ladies and Leicester FC booking their ticket to the national finals of the Safaricom Chapa Dimba tournament. And if you ask me, it's one of those tournaments that has not only lived up to give the best tournament and be able to give youngsters an opportunity to grow, but being able to pull the highest number of teams to participate. Because for this one, we had over 300 teams taking part in the Central Region, and now penultimately having 2 teams to go through. Mm-hmm. Maybe for you, what would you be calling more from the corporates, bearing in mind what Safaricom is doing on this?
Of course, when you look at Chapa Dimba and what Safaricom in particular is doing with Chapa Dimba is quite commendable in terms of the support that they give and the exposure that they give to these teams all across the country. Because we reported on the northern region the other time.
Region was the previous weekend.
Nairobi region was the other weekend. And of course, all of these places, all of these teams, all of these players have an opportunity to showcase their talent. And of course, we cannot forget to say how much, because at the regional level, once you win, you get 250,000, and also the runners-up gets a prize, some prize money. And of course, all of this prize money, of course, goes back into the development of the game, goes back into making sure that the sport and the investment keeps on going on. This is a good thing for the sports. Of course, when you look at Barcelona Ladies, they are 2 times winners, and winning twice in a row for such a big tournament where you have so many teams competing is commendable. But I wonder, now that they have won 2 times and possibly are gunning for they are going for a 3rd time, does this mean that they will be able? Will we see them in the national leagues, in the leagues, and maybe can even the corporates or other corporates apart from Safaricom step up and support the ladies and make them a contender in the national league? Maybe that remains to be seen. But of course, other corporates can emulate this, and of course, I think when you have corporates coming into sports, they give a financial incentive to both the team and the coaches to be able to perform well, and that is always needed. And so that should be something that we see more and and more from the private sector, and also the government setting up such tournaments in order to discover talent and to empower the youth in terms of the prize money.
Amazing. From the fields to the wilds, and this is because the World Rally Championship, the Safari Rally, is finally here with us, coming back on the Easter weekend, and it will be kicking off later this week. Be Friday, Saturday, and on Sunday, we'll penultimately be knowing who will be winning this one. And of course, the stage is set for the electrifying showdown that is highly anticipated of the 2024 World Rally Championship, the Safari Rally, which is the third leg of the FIA, that is Federation Automobile World Rally Championship. And it is scheduled for the 28th to the 31st of this month. This is the very week that we are in today. In the next 3 days, the Safari Rally will be here with us. And the center stage of the action will start and be enjoyed for the better part in Naivasha, though the action will be starting here in Nairobi. And various drivers have already started checking in. Already 29 entries have been confirmed for the action. And several drivers have already descended upon the country, eager to tackle the challenging terrain and compete for the glory in one of the motorsport's most reverenced events. And of course, this year's action is a different one. This is because Toyota Sebastian Ogier, who won last year's edition, will not be competing for this year's action. And this year's sponsor is also set to be announced today, the official very sponsor of the rally. But let's hear what the internationals have to say as far as the action is concerned before I bring it back to Victor Moya on his sentiments.
Yeah, first I need to get used to the temperature here. It's very hot, obviously compared to what we have in France. Donc I need to get used to it, and also the landscape is completely different. So yeah, quite a shock at the moment, but very nice. For sure, it's a difficult rally, especially for the cars. So our hope is to score a lot of points in WRC2 because we are not a lot of drivers. So if we manage to avoid the troubles, I think we should score good points. And for the championship, this is what we need.
Really looking forward to the race. We know it's rain season as well, so it's going to be probably a different challenge than what we've seen in the previous years. But it's always exciting to be here, and it's some kind of adventure and much different than all the other rallies.
Of course, we try and always arrive as prepared as we can. Yeah, of course, we have to find the balance between being prepared and relaxed. So nothing new for us.
Great, Victor Moya, there you have it from the international drivers
first,
who will be competing for the
get
glory in the third leg. Remember, this is the third edition after Rally Sweden, Rally Estonia. Now we are here in the Kenya's soil as the Safari Rally takes center stage. So as the action starts in Nairobi and heads to Vasha, Victor Moya,
Yes.
what are you anticipating or looking forward to?
I think obviously when you look at the Safari Rally, carries a lot of memories, very nostalgic for a lot of Kenyans, I would say, and especially coming around during the time of Easter. That has been something that has been, it is almost a quintessential Kenyan experience that you get to experience the Safari Rally during Easter. And of course, this year's edition, of course, comes in as the third leg. Of course, Thomas Neville leading the standings there and coming into Kenya, looking to win for the first time. I remember he did not complete the race last season. The Kenyan Rally is known to be one of the most, actually not one of, it is the most challenging rally.
It's bound to get more challenging. Nairobi is raining.
It is raining, and of course you can expect the Met department says that the rains will go on for the rest of the week, and so you can expect some of that rain to go into the weekend. And of course that creates, because last year we saw a scenario where they were struggling with dust,
more dust, yes.
With dust at the beginning of the race, at the beginning of the day on Friday, and then towards the end of the day on Friday it rained, and now you go from dust to mud, and creates of course that is a nightmare for the drivers, but of course very exciting for the people who will be in Naivasha, and for us who will be following along online and watching it. And of course we cannot forget to mention the economic impact that the rally has, not only on the country but also in the towns that the rally goes to. Of course, Naivasha sees a big boom over this weekend. Of course, I don't think you can find a hotel right now in Naivasha. All of them are booked. Being from the teams, various fans, both local and international, coming in, and of course other tourist attractions. Nakuru carries that. Hell's Gate National Park also takes center stage, and all of these places benefit from the inflow of traffic into the town, and it is a great initiative that the rally is able to come back into Kenya, and of course a long weekend ahead.
Yeah, it is, because mind you, it's the Easter weekend.
It's the Easter weekend.
So once we leave on Friday Nairobi, then the whole weekend has nobody else but everyone in Basha.
And of course, one of the things that we have seen in the past few years has been the traffic jam caused by everybody going to Naivasha. I don't think it will be any different this weekend.
Might be even worse.
It might be even worse, with now people traveling, not even for the rally, just traveling for the Easter weekend to go up country. And now you meet with the rally drivers and rally cars and rally fans, all of them converging in Naivasha. And of course, I think it is a wonderful mess. This weekend will be a wonderful mess for the rally drivers, for the rally fans, and for everybody using the. And of course, let us be safe on the roads, because it will be a heavy weekend coming up.
Absolutely heavy weekend and a messy weekend. That's Victor Moya's prediction. Wishing Team Kenya all the very best, them that will be taking part in the Kenya National Rally Championship category, the likes of Karan Patel, Carl Flash Tundo, and Co. Wishing them nothing but the very best. Allow me to move you straight to Accra, Ghana. This is because the 13th edition of the African Games got underway like 2-3 weeks ago, and curtains came closing on Saturday, with Kenya emerging and finishing 10th in the action with a total of 37 medals. So Team Kenya came in the 10th after bagging a total of 13 medals. That is 8 gold, 8 silver, and 21 bronze. Now, Emingi, Mary Mora, Beatrice Chepkoech, Brian Komen led Kenya charges in winning gold, with the most of the medals coming from tracks and field. And even before we look at who else won, maybe Victor Moya, what do you make of the African, or rather of the participation and the outing for Team Kenya in the All-African Games?
I think, of course, the thing that I think when you look at even, let me begin with the Olympics and then narrow it down to the Africa Games. One of the reasons Kenya doesn't compete, let me say, with the big boys is because of the limited number of games that we participate in. Of course, Kenya is mostly, with our strong suit is track and field, and so we do very well in the middle distance races and in the long distance races. That is the marathon. And even there was a time which I think Kenya will come back there. The 3,000 meter steeple chase was a Kenyan affair. 1, 2, 3 Kenyan affair. The 5,000 meters, for a long time, it is a toss-up, Kenya or Ethiopia. You will not miss a Kenyan or an Ethiopian in the medal. And of course, these are staples for Kenya. Even when a Kenyan doesn't win, even the 800 meters at some point was a Kenyan affair. When a Kenyan does not win, you start to wonder, hey, what is happening? And I think this is something that maybe we have perfected, and we have maybe not been able to look outside of other sports. And of course, when you look at Omanyala, that is Omanyala coming in as a sprinter at the 100 meters, being able to represent the country well. We had a team that went out and in the 4x400 meters did represent Kenya well in the World Championships a few years ago. Right now at the Africa Games, we saw, I forget her name slips me, but a young lady who won the gold at the tennis.
Angela Okutoi.
Angela Okutoi, that is her name, won the gold medal in the tennis championships.
After 30 plus years.
Actually, it is 46 years.
46 years, yeah.
46 years and winning a medal at the Africa Games. And so when you see such kind of things, when you see such kind of sportsmen and sportswomen, it encourages us and of course expands the fields that we participate in. And of course, this means that, of course, as we look to invest more and more in sports, we can, of course, invest in even the games that we say are foreign. We have seen a Kenyan recently qualify for fencing in the Olympics. We have seen
Triple
Kenyan.
jump, Kenya was able to win a gold
Yes.
after one Emily Ngii was able, rather Winnie B was able to win Kenya the first silver medal in the triple jump.
Yes.
After a very, very, very long time.
And
No?
yes, and so all these developments, all these sports, and not just the 5,000 meters and the 3,000 meters and the 1,500 meters. Of course, when you hear a sport like tennis, I don't think many of us as Kenyans know the game, know the rules of the game. But now when you have winners and champions like Angela playing at a high level and winning, you can honestly become more invested in the sport. You can be more interested in it, know what the rules are, and now that will also increase and inspire the younger generations, the younger people who are coming of. So I think for Kenya finishing 10th at the Africa Games, when you look at Egypt winning 101 medals, of course, you can only imagine how many games they participated in. I don't know whether board games are part of it. Of course, we saw the Danford brothers in 2008 being able to bring home medals at the World Championships and in the Olympics. All of these are people who we need to be by their side and be able to participate in more sports as a country and be able to represent the country well, because I think we are more than runners. We can represent the sport at more levels and more sports.
Definitely, and of course, you remember that even as Team Kenya was taking part in this action, being the 13th edition, there was off the tracks affairs with the Sports Council trimming the number of participants. We only had 57 participants taking part, athletes taking part into this action. And that in its own right had to affect the productivity and the outcome of Team Kenya. Worth noting is that Team Kenya Malkia strikers were not able to win gold. This is because they lost in the semi-finals against Egypt. And many have said that one of the biggest impact, or rather what really fostered this result, was none other than the exit of one Mercy Moim, who before she had actually come back in the country, she lost the husband and the mother-in-law in a tragic accident, and that really meant that the captain of the national volleyball team had to come back into the country, and that was a shaky issue when it comes to the morale of the entire team. However, their male counterpart, Wafalme, were able to get into the finals and lost it in the finals, winning a silver. This is after they lost to 3 straight sets to Egypt, an Egyptian side that Victor Moyes doesn't really want to hear about them, after emerging top with 191 medals across various disciplines. This is because they clinched a total of 101 gold medals, hear that, and of course, 46 silver medals and 44 bronze medals. But other than that, Victor Moya,
yes,
other than the one and only Angela Okutoi, who else was also another standout star for you?
I think we have the gentleman by the name Okang, who won the gold in the boxing match. Of course, in boxing, and after I think a 17-year hiatus, that is also impressive when you look. And I think there was a time in the 80s and early 90s when Kenya was a powerhouse in the region for boxing, especially at the competitive level. And so that seems to be one of the things that seems to be one of the Edwin Okongo. Sorry, that is his name. So for the first time in 17 years, he wins Kenya's gold in boxing. I don't know the weight class that he was.
That was a middleweight, 75 kgs.
Yes. So when you have Edwin Okongo being able to bring Kenya gold, I think that is impressive. And of course, I want to go back to a point that you mentioned earlier of the trimming down of numbers, and the trimming down of numbers maybe doesn't augur well with the participants and the athletes, of course, because it is not only a matter of we are sending the best, but you also need to send support and because if the Kenyan volleyball team being around 20 people, if they're not there and they go to support the boxing match, just seeing the Kenyan flags and the Kenyan tracksuits in the crowd, that is enough motivation. And when the numbers are trimmed down, of course, the morale goes down. The Kenyan
because worth noting is that for one, Beatrice Jepkoech, who won the gold in the 10,000 meters.
Yes.
Unfortunately, she was the only competitor and Kenya's representative. Rather, she was the only Kenyan representative into the action.
Yes.
And you see, when it comes to athletics, one of the things that you should be pushing for is that morale boost, that pace-making, pace-setting with each other, and being able to solidify the contention to the finishing line.
Yes, and of course, when you look at, and especially the long distance races, the 10,000 meters and also the marathon, one thing that you come to notice is Kenya is well known for running in teams. They run together. They have a strategy, and especially when it's getting to the closing chapters, the final seconds, the Kenyans are known to have a kick, and that kick they synchronize the kick, and everybody just opens up, and you begin to wonder, all of us were running at the same race, what has happened? And of course, when you are competing against your fellow country person, your fellow countrywoman, your fellow countryman, it creates a better sense of competition when you're 2 or 3 of you knowing that whatever happens, it is just now at an individual level, but whatever happens, we're bringing Kenya the glory and bringing Kenya the gold medal. It is, of course, something that is needed and something that is commendable. So it is quite unfortunate that you participate in the 10,000 meters by yourself. It is unfortunate that you participate in many races as the sole participant in your country and not be able to have a team strategy. You're solo and you're just there by yourself. So I think this is something that needs to be rectified moving forward.
Awesome. We take a short break. We'll be back in a moment. Keep it Hope TV, where you look and live. This.
On Go Entertainment this new year on GoTV. Bila kulipia extra. Kama uko on GoTV Lite, lipia GoTV Value. Utapata kufurahia GoTV Plus. Tayari on GoTV Value, then lipia GoTV Plus uenjoy GoTV Max. Kama wewe ni wa GoTV Plus, lipia GoTV Max ujinice na shows noma kabisa on GoTV Super. Furahia the best sports, international shows na local shows una like free. Download GoTV Stream. GoTV. Love it.
Thank you for choosing Hope TV, the channel that brings you hope, entertainment, and inspiration. We value you and would like to serve you better. Talk to us by scanning this QR code on your screen or go to our social media page at Hope TV Kenya and click on the survey link by the name Hope TV Survey. It will just take a few minutes but means the world to us. We value your feedback. Hope TV, look and live.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. If you've just joined us, then you're in time for your number one sporting action. It has to be Pitchside, where we bring you the ultimate pitchside pass as we try to bring you up to speed with what has been happening, what is happening, and what will be happening in the world of sports in the various disciplines. And of course, from Accra, Ghana, where Victor Moya is not really happy with Egypt winning 100+ medals.
I think it's just the gold.
191 and 101 gold.
Yes. Which categories are these? Because those are so many.
But you see, one of the things you need to understand and appreciate is all African Games is more like a continental Olympics.
Yes.
Where you take part in so many disciplines, including archeries, including volleyball, basketball, and all that.
Yeah.
So the more you have, you know, the other people who actually have mastered this craft is China.
Yes,
China know how to do this.
Yes.
United States know how to do this when it comes to the Olympics.
And the thing with those teams is they actually have very...
You want to say creepy or weird?
Weird. Weird is the word. They have very weird games, like synchronized swimming, for example. Like, it is such a...
Russia is so good at
Russia
that one,
is
actually.
so good at that, but it's such a technical sport. You wouldn't even know where to start for ourselves. As we can begin.
But where do we start?
Where do we start? Because especially when you look at the Russian and Chinese, these are programs that you start from gymnastics level at a very 4 or 5 years of age. By the time you get to 18, 19 years of age, you are now able to be a professional synchronized swimmer and a professional diver. And so we have a long way to go for some of these games. Archery, when you look at
but we're now having fencing.
Fencing, and the one for the horse. What is it called?
Which one? There's polo.
There's polo. There's water polo.
Yeah.
And of course
But Kenya is also doing that. We are into beach volleyball and the normal volleyball.
Yes, and of course
we are into wheelchair basketball and the normal wheelchair and the normal basketball
and hockey, field hockey, and
roll ball,
and so many. You watch equestrian, the one for controlling the horses and going over obstacles and things like that. Those are very interesting games that I would like to see us participate in, and of course.
But which corporate is going to sponsor you for that? They don't even know whether you're going to go anywhere.
The government should be able to the government should be able to invest in those games, because when you look at, for example, the equestrian challenges, that is a training of two people or two of the person and of the horse, and of course these people, the two have to be in sync and have to be highly
owning a horse is actually a hard task. We are building affordable housing.
And of course, when you look at what is it called? Ngong Race Course has horse races every Sunday, and so
how many Africans are taking part in that?
I think there are quite a few Africans who take.
I think the last I actually saw a horse was actually where at the ASK Nairobi Showground. Anyway, away from that, and let's head straight to. Still on the tracks, but this time round we'll be heading to nowhere better place but Belgrade. This is because the 2024 Team Kenya will be ready for the cross-country, World Athletics cross-country. This will be happening in Belgrade. And the 24 confirmed that 485 athletes from 51 teams will be descending to Serbia in Belgrade for this year's action that will be happening on Saturday, the cross-country, and a total of 245 athletes, that is 138 men and 107 women, are entered for the individual senior races, while 187, that is 95 men and 92 women, will be in action for the under-20 races. In the mixed relay, 12 countries have been confirmed, and Kenya topped the medal standings in the last action. This was in Belfast, Australia, last year, 2023. And Beatrice Jebet will be leading Team Kenya in trying to see how best they come out of this one. And Kenya will be looking to defend their title in the mixed relay, which included the men's squad and has the likes of Paris Chipkirui, Miriam Cherop, Reynold Cheriot, Kiumbe Muguti, Virginia Nyambura, and Emmanuel Wanyoni. Victor Moya, heading to Belgrade.
Yes.
What is your anticipation for Team Kenya?
I think the World Cross Country Championships is one of the competitions, unlike the Africa Games, that fully.
I watched Belfast, Australia last year,
Yes.
and my goodness,
That
the terrain.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that is a competition that fully favors Kenyans, and
Ethiopia.
and Ethiopia, because one of the things that Kenya and Ethiopia are known for is the being able to be running on rough terrain. And of course, we have seen many cases of Kenyan athletes when they come into the when they're running on the let me say the tarmac or on the track inside the stadiums. They don't even know how to run on shoes. They run barefoot because that is just how they are used to doing it. They're used to running on rough terrain. They're used to running across valleys, across mountains, and a lot for, maybe it is not the case right now, but for a lot of Kenyans back in the day, and a lot of Kenyan athletes, the running was not even as a sport. It was just a part of their daily routine, running to school.
It was more of an adaptability thing, because
Yes.
maybe your school is too far.
Too
You
far.
have to run.
You have to run to get
Maybe
to
the
school
shops
on
are
time.
equally too far.
So you have to run to get to school on time, and so this is how you get so many athletes, and especially from the Rift Valley region, the highlands of the Rift Valley, being able to do so well and still be able to dominate the world over. And of course, again, same case to the Ethiopians, the Ethiopian highlands being able to dominate so much in the sports, in the cross-country sports. And of course, one of the things that is very different in the World Cross-Country Championship is not the running on tarmac, it is the running on terrain, rough terrain, as you say, and running on, let's say,
Uphill,
uphill
downhill.
and natural terrain. Let's call it
Yes.
natural terrain,
Yes.
where it is more of an outside setting, more of a natural
humidity
setting. Yeah, the
is
humidity.
such a factor, the
All the
wind.
elements. Yes, you're competing against yourself, you're competing against your fellow competitors, and you're competing against the elements. And of course, that is something that Kenyans have been adapted to over the years. And I expect nothing short of an excellent showing for Team Kenya. Of course, we have Beatrice Chebet being the team leader, and of course, I expect her to do well and lead the team. Although the one event that I do not understand, I don't know how does it go, the cross country relay. Yes.
Take a look at what will be happening on Saturday. You and any other person who doesn't really understand it, I can tell you freely, it's a nice experience. It's a nice experience. This is because one of the things that happens with world cross country is understanding that, as you've said, it's a natural terrain. So one takes a lap, you finish, come meet the other person, and that way.
Yes.
A complete lap, and another complete lap, and another complete lap.
How many?
Because
How many?
4 people.
How many meters is the lap?
Well,
how many kilometers?
We normally do. Is it 20?
20 kilometers.
Yes.
So 5 kilometers per lap.
Yep.
Okay. That seems
That's like 5,000
meters. That is not a bad race for the Kenyans and Ethiopians. I think this is again a competition that is highly favorable to Kenyans and Ethiopians, given the natural terrains that we run in, and given of course the history, and of course having topped the medals last year. Expect nothing short of that this year, and of course maybe a better showing. And of course this is also another race where we discover new talent, fresh talent, of course,
and gear up for the Olympics.
And gearing
right?
up for the Olympics. Of course, the likes of Eliud Kipchoge made their debut on the world stage at the World Cross Country Championships, and especially the Under-20 Championships. This is where Team Kenya sends out a group of athletes, and we get to test them against the best in the world, and from that we can look forward into the future.
Amazing. Maybe in the interest of time, allow us to really talk about this one, because it's big. One Prince Charles Mwangi would come for my neck if I don't talk about it. It's the Kenya Cup, and of course the boys have been separated from the men, and the finals are finally here. This is after the semi-finals, and perennial nemesis KCB and the Sugar Boys, in the name of Cabra Sugar, will be facing it once again. This is after KCB cruised past Menengai Oilers to reach the Kenya Cup finals. And for the second season in a row, beg your pardon, Cabra Sugar will be hosting KCB in the Kenya Cup finals, following their victories in the semi-finals, and in a final that will be hosted on the 6th of next month. This is not this weekend, but that other weekend, right? And in a nail-biting semi, which was staged at the KCB Sports Club at the Ruaraka, the bankers needed a last grasp from Bob Muhati to be able to crunch it 21-12 and be able to beat Menengai Oilers. Now, in the other semi-finals, Kabra Sugar brushed aside record Kenya Cup champions Nondies 37-9, with the promoted side finishing the game tryless. Now, also worth noting is that the KRU Championship, Impala Saracens and the South Coast Pirates will both be playing in the Kenya Cup next season after they won their respectful semi-finals against the Masinde Muliro University of Science and Technology MUST and the Daystar Falcons, respectively. Now, Victor Moya, even as we get the pictures and hear from KCB's captain and assistant coach on what really happened in that action between Menengai Oilers and KCB, what difference would you be making if you are KCB into this action?
I think KCB coming into this final and having, of course, let's begin with Cabras being the defending champions coming into the final. Of course, they expect to capitalize on the momentum from last year and the momentum this season. And I think for KCB, one of the things that you adjust is just, I think this is not even a matter of, when it comes to the finals, it's not a matter of mentality and talent. I mean, it's not a matter of talent and the hard work. It is just a matter of being technical and being able to execute. And especially the execution, especially at this level, because you can be sure for both teams, for both Cabras and KCB, whatever mistake you make, your opponent is able to capitalize on it, and that is how you lose the game. It comes down to millimeters and seconds of decision making and of precision, and this is what decides the games. Of course, when you look at the season that Cabras has been having, you cannot, and this is their 9th consecutive final. Of course, that is commendable for them.
And they've not lost thus far in this season.
and they have not lost this season. When you look at the odds are in their favor, the odds are not in KCB's favor. But of course, I expect an exciting final. I think that's this coming, not this
weekend, but the other weekend. Yes.
The next weekend.
After Belgrade, Salbia,
yes.
Then we'll be heading straight to the Den.
That only, I think the pressure is on KCB to bring it, and of course, I think more pressure is on Cabras to be able to defend the title, and of course, you don't want to lose your 9th one. Of course, after being there eight times, you don't want to lose the 9th final. But for KCB, I think the adjustment is just to be sharper and to be sharper in execution more so, because you at this high level you cannot afford to make any mistakes, and you cannot afford to be at a level where you're coming down the wire, as we saw in the semi-finals. You have to be decisive from the very beginning and be able to capitalize on your chances and be able to control the game for the most part. And I think this will assure them a victory. But of course, Cabras will not take this lying down. They have been there, they have done that, and they don't look like they want to let this one go. Kenya Cup belongs to Cabras, and that is just what it is right now.
Well, it belongs to them. It's a case of wait and see. And the 6th of April, that is next month, the Bull Ring will be staging this big action of the Kenya Cup finals. Well, from me, Mike Mbogwa, that's all that we had for you. Want to wish you a blessed week and a fruitful one. Maybe Victor, what is your sign out?
My sign out is, of course, have a fruitful week. Have fun for those of you going to Naivasha. Be safe. And of course, happy Easter as we move into the weekend.
Blessings. See you on Monday next week.